All right, y'all, so it's time for some more discoveries made by drones. Let's check them out.
Ötzi the Iceman. Between 3350 and 3015 BC, a man tragically died in the mountains. Thousands of years later, his body was discovered and became known as Ötzi the Iceman. The body was discovered in the Utstal Alps between Austria and Italy in 1991. Over 5,000 years after his death, Ötzi the Iceman has become an extraordinary find since his discovery. After all, his remains offered scientists and historians an unprecedented window into the life of someone from the Copper Age. The icy temperature in the Alps preserved Ötzi's body incredibly well. From his clothing to his tools, everything provided rare insights into the life of an individual from
You could tell it was well preserved. Did you see how the head moved, the skull moved when they turned it over? Yeah, that alone lets you know it was well preserved.
Clothing to his tools, everything provided rare insights into the life of an individual from a time long past. Among the items found with him were copper tools, a bow with arrows, and even a medicine kit, revealing that our ancestors had a surprisingly advanced understanding of tools and equipment for their time. But perhaps the most surprising thing about Ötzi is his last state. You see, further analysis of his body has shown evidence of multiple injuries. This has led many to believe he was actually killed by other individuals during that period. Ötzi has given us a lot of information. However, many are saddened about his tragic last moments on Earth. Now for a little, not-so-horrifying fact. If you're lactose intolerant, you'll be comforted to know that it's something we have in common with our predecessors. In fact, Ötzi was found to be lactose intolerant. Before we go on, like this video?
See, y'all, we ain't supposed to be drinking milk. That's probably what's wrong with us. Probably like 60% of the issue that's wrong with us. I stopped drinking milk years ago, and I may have it occasionally with like a milkshake, but for the most part, I don't eat cereal and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So removing milk, that might remove a lot of the health issues we have.
Smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now. Number 19. Bodies in the Rkund Lake. Nestled high in the Himalayan mountains of Uttarakhand, India, is a serene glacial lake called Rkund. It might look ordinary and inconspicuous, but not many realize that beneath its icy waters lie secrets, several skeletons. For this reason, the Rkund Lake is also known as the Skeleton Lake. You see, as the snow around this body of water melts, hundreds of human skeletons scattered around the lake's edges come into view. These aren't just recent casualties of adventurous trekkers. The bones date back to around 9th century AD. To this day, the origin of these remains is debated by experts. Were they the victims of a great battle? Pilgrims who lost their way? Or something even more sinister? DNA evidence suggests these people weren't related and might have been from different regions. Furthermore, the lack of wounds consistent with combat led researchers to believe that the group didn't die from battle. The most popular theory, however, is that the body belongs to a king, his queen, and their many attendants. The story goes that the entourage angered the mountain goddess as they passed through. In turn, the goddess struck them down with hailstones. While this is compelling, the truth remains unknown. Number 18. The short...
I don't know. Seems something fishy happened there. Something ain't right about that. They just all ended up in one spot, but no war wounds or nothing like that. Yeah, something don't seem right about that.
Short person of the mountainous forests on the island of Sumatra. Have you heard about the orang pendek? If you haven't, it's one of the alleged cryptids that lurk in Indonesia. Ironically, despite its name translating to short person in the local language, this creature is anything but. Witnesses describe it as a small ape-like creature, standing around 3 to 5 feet tall with a bipedal gait. Think of a compact ground-dwelling orangutan with the posture of a human. Sounds creepy, isn't it? Luckily, it seems that this creature doesn't have any interest in harming anyone. All it seems to do is to roam around the wilderness, puzzling and confusing explorers. The tales of this mysterious creature date back centuries. Both indigenous tribes and modern explorers alike have reported sightings. Now, the dense forests of Sumatra are known to hide many secrets. After all, it wasn't too long ago that scientists discovered new species there. So the idea of a hidden primate lurking in the shadows? Not entirely out of the question. Some eyewitnesses claim to have found footprints and even hair samples that don't quite match any known primate. However, the real question is whether the orang pendek is a yet undiscovered species, a distant relative of humans, or just a local legend. What's your take? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Number 17. The Siberian Snowman. Now here's another cryptid similar to the elusive Bigfoot, but instead of the Americas, this creature is allegedly lurking in Siberia, a vast cold wilderness with long dark nights. This creature is known as the Chichunya, described by those who claim to have seen it as standing around 6 to 7 feet tall with dark shaggy fur. This mysterious creature seems to be a blend of man and beast. Now I know what you're thinking. This creature...
That's what gets me about people who love to go hiking with all these different stories of different things that can be out there. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, etc. You know what I'm saying? And you go out there and these things are alleged to be 6, 7 feet, massive, strong, just strength that is just unmatched. And you just go out there hiking, oh, today I'm going on the trail, take some selfies, pictures, explore and everything like that. Like, I don't understand it.
Sounds awfully similar to Bigfoot, and perhaps this is just another version of Bigfoot's tale. However, eyewitnesses would tell you otherwise. Stories of the Chichunya have been floating around for ages. Local indigenous tribes have their own legends, and even some modern-day adventurers swear by their chilling encounters. But then again, do you think places like Siberia, remote and relatively unexplored, could hide creatures still unknown to science? Sounds plausible, right? Would you camp a night in the Siberian wilderness, hoping for a Chichunya encounter? Or would you rather just wait for other brave explorers to verify the existence of this Bigfoot-like creature? Let me know about your thoughts in the comments down below.
I'm that person. I'll just wait till somebody gets some actual footage and then we'll review it from the comfort of my own home. I ain't going out there though.
Number 16. The Eternally Burning Mountain. Nestled near Baku, the capital city of Azerbaijan, Yani Dag is truly a sight to behold. Now, it's not an entire mountain ablaze, but rather a hillside that's been on fire non-stop for decades. That's right. It's a natural fire that has been burning continuously and shows no signs of stopping. It makes you wonder just how it's even possible, right? It's not hard to see just how this 380-foot hill earned its name. Legends say that Yani Dag was accidentally ignited by a shepherd in the 1950s. But the real magic, or should I say the real science, is the continuous gas emissions from the ground that keep this fire alive. You see, this area is abundant with springs, and it just so happens that the spring's water is saturated with an insane amount of sulfur. Now, the water is harmless until someone ventures too close with a lit matchstick. If that happens, the poor soul would realize too late that the entire place is filled with extremely flammable and unseen elements. What makes this even more fascinating is its historical and cultural significance. Ancient Zoroastrians, known for their fire-worshipping practices, considered places like Yani Dag sacred. And honestly, standing in front of an entirely burning hillside, it's not hard to feel that there's something a bit otherworldly about it. It's truly fascinating to look at the 32-foot wall of fire that seems like it'll still be ablaze for eternity. There's actually a popular legend explaining the origins of this eternally burning mountain. The story goes that a shepherd accidentally started the fire, setting the pasture on the hill ablaze. And ever since then, the fire in the area has never really been extinguished. However, another legend claims that a pack of wolves, who just so happen to be sentient, I guess, made inscriptions on the hill to protect their home. As far-fetched as this tale sounds, experts actually proposed a sensible theory. Scholars believe that perhaps the alleged wolves mentioned in the legend actually represent primitive men who accidentally set fire to the gas-filled mountain. However, whether this is really the truth or not remains debated. Number 15.
Yeah, but can this get worse though? I don't know. You could tell me this is as much as it's ever gonna do. This is as much as ever gonna burn. It's not gonna get no bigger, no smaller. It's just gonna level right here and just do that. And I still have a fear of it exploding some kind of way. Anytime you hear flame, gas, I just think explosion eventually. You know what I'm saying? Or it getting worse, much worse. So, nah, I keep my distance.
The Big Gray Man of Ben McDwee. Ever find yourself hiking up a tall mountain only to feel like you're not alone?
Nope.
Well, if you're venturing up Ben McDwee in Scotland, you might just actually have company. And I'm not referring to other hikers. So who or what is this mysterious figure? Reports describe it as a massive shadowy figure that lurks around Scotland's second highest peak. Some say it's over 10 feet tall with an eerie silhouette. and it's known to follow hikers as they make their ascent. Creepy, right? But contrary to its name, most eyewitnesses don't see a big gray man. Rather, people report an overwhelming feeling of unease, hearing unexplained footsteps, and even seeing giant, mysterious shadows. Several theories are floating around to explain this phenomenon. Some believe it's an optical illusion created by mists and shadows on the mountain. Others think it could be auditory hallucinations due to the quiet, isolated environment. But then there are those who firmly believe that the big gray man is a real, perhaps supernatural entity guarding the mountain's peak. So next time you're planning a hiking trip in Scotland, maybe consider Ben McDwee. Who knows? You might just have a story to tell after going. Number 14. The Skunk Ape. The skunk ape is one of those cryptids that allegedly haunt the dense forests and swamps of Florida. Sometimes referred to as Florida's Bigfoot, this creature is often described as towering over 6 feet tall, covered in thick, either reddish or dark fur. Many skunk ape sightings are centralized in Florida's Big Cypress National Preserve. However,
So alligators and stuff wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to worry about in Florida, huh? Now we got to worry about skunk apes. Skunk apes. So if you survive the alligators and make it through that and get past them, then you got to worry about a skunk ape or a python or something like that. I think snakes are running rampant down there in Florida too right now. Sheesh.
reports have trickled in front of other parts of the southeastern United States. Photographs, footprints, and even videos have been presented as evidence over the years. Skeptics argue that many sightings could be attributed to misidentifications of native wildlife, or even hoaxes. After all, the dense Floridian wilderness can play tricks on one's eyes, especially in the dim light of dawn or dusk. However, the sheer volume of testimonies and the consistency in descriptions continue to lead many to believe the existence of the skunk ape. Number 13. Mysterious rock thrower. Let me ask you this question again. Have you ever been hiking alone when suddenly you feel like you're not alone? It's one of the scariest feelings, especially in the wilderness. You have no way of knowing if it's just your paranoia or if there truly is someone or something poised to strike the moment opportunity allows. Perhaps that's why this Redditor just couldn't forget this experience. He was solo camping, taking a hike to his favorite spot in the mountain. However, on his way, he saw what looked like a man in the distance. He was holding what appeared to be a massive rock in one hand and what looked like a blade in the other. Terrified, but left with no choice, the Redditor tried to greet the stranger by shouting a friendly, "Hey man!" But to his surprise, he received no answer. Now what's more bizarre is that upon walking closer to the man, he discovered that it was actually nothing but a rock. Now he walked away, chuckling at how scared he was because of a bizarre-looking rock formation, only for his relief to be short-lived as a rock whizzed right past his ear. He looked back, and the supposed rock formation he saw was gone. He's still clueless as to what exactly he encountered in the woods that day. Number 12. Watchers of the Appalachian Mountain. Alright, now here is another spooky tale. More than 7 years ago, a Redditor whom we'll call Sam was exploring southeast Kentucky along with his family. One day, he joined his aunt and cousin on a road trip around the area. His cousin wanted to take a photo of something called Rebel's Rock, but while trying to locate the said location, the trio got lost, and Sam, who was only 16 at the time, noticed that her aunt was getting more and more uncomfortable as they ventured further. He only understood when he saw the huge "No Trespassing" sign. He brought it up to his older cousin, who only brushed it off and said it was no big deal. He rationalizes that since Rebel Rock is a landmark, then the place must be open to the public. When they finally got to the rock, Sam was quite horrified.
Never go hiking with a person like that. They have total disregard for your life. Never go. What? It says no trespassing. And if there's any place that I'm going to respect a no trespassing sign, it's out in the middle of nowhere, bro. Come on now. We've all seen horror movies that turn bad for it. The people who don't listen in those situations and still proceed forward, it don't end up good for them.
The road there was trashed as if a bunch of teenagers vandalized the area. And right where his aunt parked was spray painted, "We can see you," sending chills down his spine. Now you and I both know that this situation is exactly how horror movies start, but it gets scarier. Sam decided to take in the view to hopefully forget the jump scare he felt upon seeing the cryptic message on the asphalt, when suddenly he saw something shiny across the other cliff, sunlight reflecting off the glass, particularly binoculars. Sam immediately told his aunt, who said it was fine, but all three of them held their breaths when they heard a truck getting closer to them. Expecting the worst, the three expected to see rebellious teenagers or something similar. Luckily, this story turned out to be not so horrifying after all. It turned out that the men were simply watchers of the mountain trying to stop teenagers from further trashing the area. Even so, the entire experience leading up to that point must have been horrifying for Sam. Number 8.
They lucky. They got a guardian angel. Angel was watching over them. Because 9 times out of 10, that story is going to end a totally different way.
11. Ferocious Bear. Now there's a reason why we have a bear bag. For those among you who are unfamiliar with bear bags, there's simply a bag that you hang on trees to make sure that a bear won't get them. You put everything, and I mean everything with a strong smell in this bag, and that includes toothpaste. However, one hiker shared a time when his friend forgot to put his toothpaste in the bear bag, which turned out to be a huge mistake because the next morning they woke up with their friend shouting as a bear tried to rip into his tent for the toothpaste. Fortunately, no one was harmed, but the bear did end up ripping his friend's backpack. Number 10. Mountain Mummy. Around 800 years before our present time, nestled on Peru's coast, a young adult met their end. Those who bid farewell embraced a unique ritual. They mummified this individual, covering them in cloth and positioning their hands across their face. This way of honoring the dead was popular in the majestic Andean region. In 2021, the mummy was unveiled by a dedicated team of archaeologists. Now, I don't know about you, but seeing a mummy in this position is far more terrifying than looking at the mummified remains in Egypt. After all, this mummy looks like a captive who died tragically. Archaeologists hope that through this discovery, we'll learn more about the hidden parts of the people who lived in the Andean region. Number 9. The San Pedro Mummy. Hidden away in the vast landscapes of Wyoming, USA, miners made a discovery in 1932 that left everyone baffled and, let's admit, a tad creeped out. They unearthed a tiny mummy, just 6 inches tall, with an eerie expressive face. The miners used explosives to break through dense rock, uncovering a small room that measured roughly 4 feet in height, 4 feet in width, and about 15 feet in depth. Inside, they claimed to have discovered the mummified remains of a tiny person. Upon examination with X-rays, it was theorized that the mummy was the body of an anencephalic infant, a condition characterized by the absence of a significant portion of the brain, skull, and scalp, resulting from developmental issues during the embryonic stage.
Kind of looks like that alien that guy presented to the government down in Mexico, don't it? They need to check it to see if it got eggs on the inside of it too.
This condition gave the mummy the appearance of a miniature adult. Because of its bizarre appearance, some say it's an ancient being, while others believe it's a tragic tale of a baby born prematurely. Of course, there are also others who claim that the mummified remains belong to an extraterrestrial being. Well, the unfortunate thing is that the mummy was lost, and so further research couldn't be done. And so to this day, the real truth behind this curious-looking mummy remains unknown. Number 8. Valley of Headless Men. Tucked away in the vast wilderness of the Northwest Territories, Nahanni National Park Reserve is home to stunning vistas, pristine rivers, and creepy tales. Now there's a reason for the horrifying name associated with this place, the Valley of the Headless Men. Aside from rugged terrain, a vast ecosystem teeming with wild animals and brutal weather, this place is also notorious for a bizarre phenomenon where many travelers disappear, and when they do get located, their bodies often turn up without their heads. The abundance of decapitated bodies earned its name, Valley of Headless Men. You see, many call this place the last frontier because it's one of the few places in the world that's truly unexplored. Many believe that in this place lives a civilization that's not too keen on welcoming outsiders. And perhaps the Headless Men we found so far are messages and warnings for others not to get too close. So if there
Headlines like that, you ain't got to worry about me coming down there. Valley of Headless. No.
there are viewers out there who have any theories about this mysterious place, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments down below. Number 7. the mountain that swallows people. Towering at 8,500 feet, Mount Nyangani, Zimbabwe's majestic peak, is nestled in the eastern highlands. Now, local lore paints Mount Nyangani as sacred, a place where ancestral spirits reside. Visitors to this mystic mountain have reported some bizarre things. Think compasses with a mind of their own, photos that simply refuse to develop, weather that flips like a coin, and winds that seem to whisper secrets. And that eerie fog? Legend has it that it stalks those who dare to tread the mountain paths. And just when you thought it couldn't get creepier, there's more. Surrounding areas, particularly two constructed dams, have seen their share of unexplained phenomena. Equipment acting up, strange accidents, and workers disappearing into thin air. Some believe construction angered the gods, leading to tribal leaders performing rituals to calm the cosmic storm. Number 6. The Snarly Yao. The Snarly Yao is among the lesser-known cryptids that allegedly lurk around Maryland and West Virginia. It's sometimes referred to as the Black Dog or Dog Fiend, and as its name suggests, this creature is typically described as a massive canine, often with strikingly dark fur, and occasionally, reports even depict it as headless. Those who have claimed to encounter the Snarly Yao often describe its eyes as glowing. Many encounters involve the creature materializing in front of vehicles or travelers, only to vanish into thin air just as suddenly. Some interpretations suggest that the Snarly Yao might be a guardian, protecting ancient lands or keeping watch over specific territories. In case you're curious, one of the hotspots for Snarly Yao sightings is the vicinity of South Mountain, Maryland. Local stories often revolve around the Harper's Ferry region and the Old National Road, where numerous travelers have reported their chilling encounters with this monstrous canine. Just be careful though, its existence might be debated, but eyewitness accounts are enough to prove how monstrous this creature is. Number 5. Dweo. The Dweo, sometimes described as Dweo or Dweo wolf, is said to be a mysterious wolf-like creature. Eyewitnesses often describe it as having a shaggy, dark fur coat, standing on two legs, and possessing features reminiscent of wolves and humans. Its stance and movements, often described as bipedal, distinguish it from a regular wolf or dog. The most famous sighting of the Dweo occurred in the late 1960s. A local resident reported encountering this bizarre creature, detailing a fierce struggle before the entity fled into the woods. This account was published in a Frederick County newspaper, which naturally led to a surge in interest in subsequent sightings by others in the region. So what could the Dweo be? Skeptics often suggest that eyewitnesses might be misidentifying known animals, such as bears or even large dogs. After all, the wilderness in Maryland provides a home for various wildlife. On the other hand, some believe the Dweo is a genuine cryptid, a yet-to-be-discovered creature, or perhaps an entity with roots in indigenous legends. Number 4. The Mummy Maiden Sacrifice. If you look at these mummies, you would think that they're just children sleeping. However, their innocent slumber has a horrifying backstory. Towering over 22,000 feet, Mount Uyayako isn't just one of the highest volcanoes in the world. It's also a site of a significant archaeological discovery. In 1999, explorers stumbled upon the preserved child sacrifices. Amidst the icy landscape were the horrifying remains of 3 Incan children. These weren't just any children. They were believed to be chosen by the Inca for Capacocha.
I know we're not supposed to question things that took place in history and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Or typically in certain situations, but man, why children?
Ritualistic offering to the gods. It's a concept that might feel alien to many of us today.
Yes.
But in the context of Incan culture, these sacrifices were deeply revered and weren't seen as something cruel or immoral. And now, due to the cold, high altitude,
Signs of a different time, I guess.
where they died, their bodies remain preserved. In fact, their hair, clothing, and sometimes even blood were intact. The children, found with various ceremonial objects, were believed to be messengers or offerings to the gods, ensuring prosperity and balance for the community. With their young age, many were naturally horrified by the discovery of the mummies. Researchers, using modern techniques, have been able to deduce a wealth of information from this discovery, from their diets to their upbringing. In fact, it's this advanced experiment that revealed how the children were chosen at a very young age to be sacrificed. They were born to simply be sacrificed for what people at the time thought was the greater good. Number 3. Berwin UFO Incident. Back in 1974, in the quiet Welsh countryside, something went down that had locals puzzled and scrambling for answers. It's a chilly evening in January, and the residents of the Berwin Mountains are going about their business.
Back to that children's story. You know what I mean? I just can't let that go. Do you think they will be judged in the afterlife? Do you think that's something they'll have to answer for? In situations like that, you just hope you did the right thing, but that's the question I have.
Suddenly,
we can move on now.
Ground shakes, lights flash across the sky, and a loud bang echoes through the hills. No, it's not the start of an alien invasion movie. This actually happened. So what was it? A UFO crash landing? A secret military experiment gone awry? Well, many believe that aliens were responsible for the bizarre phenomena. Initial reports suggested that it was an earthquake with a magnitude of 3.5. But here's where things get even juicier. Some locals were adamant they saw a mysterious object plummeting to Earth that very evening. For years, UFO enthusiasts have pointed to the Berwin incident as potential evidence of extraterrestrial visitors. The British government, on the other hand, chalked it up to a mix of natural events and misinterpretations. But naturally, many believe that the bizarre incident can be accredited to extraterrestrial creatures that visited our planet. So what do you think really happened on that fateful night in the Berwin Mountains? Was it just an earthquake combined with a meteorological environment? Or is there more to it still hidden from us? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Number 2. The Doll's Head. Now imagine this. Everywhere you look, trees, bushes, greenery. You're off for a ramble in the woods. Then you spot it, half hidden, nestled against a fallen, rotting log. You go up for a closer look to be sure that what you think you're seeing is what you're really seeing. But there it is, a disembodied baby doll's head. No, you're not in a horror movie. You're simply on Doll's Head Trail. You're mere miles from the world's busiest airport and literally yards outside the city limits of Atlanta, Georgia. However, a disquieting atmosphere hangs in the air, as if you're miles...
Did they just say Atlanta, Georgia? So this is near me?
away from civilization. This place is known as one of the strangest, most semi-disturbing hikes you'll ever see. Even without the bodiless baby doll heads and other found objects set as art pieces, this is a somewhat offbeat place. If you explore this place, you'll find several doll heads and other disembodied figures. If you're lucky, you might discover bizarre arrangements other hikers built. The disembodied doll heads you stumble upon often come with displays and messages.
No, I'm not going there before y'all even start asking me. No, I'm not going at all.
It's not that hard to keep yourself entertained. In fact, here you'll find all sorts of stuff, like a toy dinosaur, a headless Superman, a bowling pin. All are set up in artistic displays along the narrow trail. There's even a little public library stand with books you can take or drop off. Now, as messy as this trail might sound, authorities actually discourage people from adding trash to the collection. Snatching away toys or other mementos from the trail is also forbidden. And now it's time for today's topic. This drone made a terrifying discovery after spotting this high up on a mountain. A curious drone operator decided to test his new drone on a nearby mountain, and he didn't expect what he saw. As the drone reached a higher altitude, he saw a figure walking on one of the cliffs. Curious, he drove the drone closer. He was also hoping for it to be a person who just might be thrilled to see a drone documenting his hike. But to his surprise, the figure turned out to be nothing but a person. It was a hunched bipedal figure that resembled a man and an ape. It was nothing like he'd ever seen before. However, before he could fly the drone closer, something hit the drone, making it hard to operate. The next thing he knew, the figure was gone after he got the drone's camera to refocus again. Now, could this be the elusive Bigfoot or something else entirely? Number 1. Bizarre Totem. Now, here's an experience shared by a Redditor that's pretty recent. This Redditor, who we'll call Maria, was once hiking through the backwoods of a secluded mountain. There, she found a pretty bizarre sight. One part of the meadow was dead. There was no signs of fire or other causes of damage, and the field was full of old wood. At the center was a gnarly old tree, kind of like the ones you see in horror movies. Now, this isn't the scariest part. On that big old tree was a goat skull sticking out with several animal bones nailed to the tree as well. To this day, Maria wondered who created the bizarre totem in the middle of the woods. Now, these discoveries and experiences are definitely creepy, but if you have other experiences to share, feel free to comment them down below.
Maybe one day, man. Maybe one day I'll feel adventurous, but some of this stuff I'll be like, ain't no way I'm going just in the middle of nowhere, fam. I just don't see the advantage for me. Everything else out there has the advantage over me. I'm in their territory, their atmosphere. They know the area. Like, no. And then you stumble upon some doll heads or a no trespassing sign, different things like that. Something creeping up on you, animals. Yeah. And I got a friend. They do that every year. They go hiking. And I mean miles and miles into the woods. Like, I just can't see it, man. But to each his own. It's just not for me. Y'all get at me in the comment section, though, man, and let me know what you think. And stick around and stay tuned till next time I'm gone. Peace.